Hey, what's up everybody? Gary here with Guitar Tricks. If you're watching this video, that means you just got a brand new guitar, and that's awesome. Congratulations. So in this video, I'm gonna go over what to do next now that you got your guitar. But before that, I want you to go ahead and click subscribe to the Guitar Tricks channel so that you get all of the latest and greatest content. All right, so when you get your new guitar, the first thing to do obviously is take off the tags, take off the plastic. Sometimes you don't even realize the plastic is on there, but once you pull it off, you're gonna notice it looks a lot shinier, a lot nicer, and that's one of the great things about a new toy. So you're gonna have probably some plastic on your pickups, some plastic on the pickguard, so go ahead and peel that off. Sometimes a little of it won't come off because it's under these little knobs and things, so you could, if you wanted to, pull off those knobs and take the plastic off. If the knobs are raised up, you can actually slip like a sock or a rag in them and pull it out. If they're not raised up, you can put like a butter knife in there. That's another way to do it. And they just kind of pull straight out if you want to pull those knobs out to get the plastic. All right, so once you do that, you got your tags off, you're gonna want to tune up your guitar and make sure that it plays all right. You definitely are gonna want to use a headstock tuner. That's what I have here. What's great about a headstock tuner is you don't need to plug in any cables to it. It just picks up the vibration of your guitar. Here I've got the Guitar Tricks Tune Tiger, and this one's really great because it's got a nice bright display and it's very accurate and it's big so you can see what's going on. So if you don't have a headstock tuner yet, that's fine. You can use your phone and find many different tuning apps available on all platforms. So whether you're using your headstock tuner or you're listening to the sound and you're trying to match it, you're gonna go one string at a time, and the first thing you need to know is what are the names of the strings so you can remember them this way: E, A, D, G, B, E, and that could be earn a dollar, go buy eggs, or Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. All right, so going from lowest pitch to highest, we got E, A, D, G, B, E. All right, so now I'm gonna tune my guitar. My E's a little off. A, D, G, B, E. So if the guitar is way out of tune like this, you might first want to try to get it in the ballpark by matching a pitch by ear before you fine tune with your headstock tuner or your phone. One way you could do that is go to the Guitar Tricks website if you're a full access member and use the web tuner. All right, so now that it's in tune, let's see if it plays okay. So there's a few things that I'm looking for. One, I'm looking for the action, and the action is how high the strings are off the fretboard. That's one thing. If they're really high, it's gonna be really hard to play and press the notes down. That's gonna be really frustrating, especially if you're starting out. And if it's too low, it'll be easy to play, but you're gonna get a lot of fret buzz when you play the notes up high. You might get like a buzzy sound like that. Mine's actually a little too low. Now, if it's too high or too low, there are some things you could do on your own without worrying about hurting your guitar. So you could experiment a little. And the first thing on an electric guitar especially is that you could raise or lower the bridge. So raising the bridge is one way to fix your action that anybody can do. So I'm just gonna make a small adjustment using the right Allen key and just do small adjustments at first, retune, check it, see how it feels. Now on an acoustic guitar, there's really no adjustments that I would recommend you do on your own. If you have high action, and this guitar does have high action, there's two ways to adjust it. The neck truss rod, and the truss rod is in there, but I would not mess with that. I would bring it to a pro. And the other way is to lower this bridge by pulling it out and sanding it down on a piece of fine grit sandpaper, little by little by little by little. Now, if you go too far, that's it. You've messed it up and then you need to buy a new one or get one retrofitted. They're not all the same. So that's definitely kind of a pro thing to do there. I might have done it once, but now I just bring it to a professional to deal with that. So not much leeway on the acoustic, but there's a lot that you could do on your own with the electric. Another thing you're gonna wanna look out for is good intonation. And what that means is that your guitar is not only in tune here, but it's also in tune up here. And what controls that are these little saddles. So the saddles are on the bridge, and you'll see each string or pair of strings has its own saddle. And by moving the saddle back and forth, you'll be able to get the string in tune on all frets. So here's how to check if you have good intonation. First, play the open string and look on your tuner and see what it says. It's in tune. And now I'm gonna play the 12th fret really lightly, because if I press too hard, it's gonna go sharp, and see if it's also in tune. So mine is actually a little sharp. So that means even though it's perfect open, it's a little sharp as it goes higher up the neck. So the rule of thumb is if it's sharp, move the saddle away from the neck. And if it's flat, move the saddle toward the neck. But you could also adjust the height of each individual saddle. So each saddle, you could adjust how far this way or that way for intonation and how far up and how far down. Now, what you could also do by adjusting the height of each saddle is control what's called the radius. So your neck has a certain curvature that's called the neck radius, and you can match that curvature here. But some players might want one string higher than another. Maybe their high E string they want higher because they bend it a lot and they want to make sure it doesn't buzz ever. So you can just individually adjust one string height if that's what you want to do. So again, I have my Allen key. This one I need to go one size smaller. And then I can now adjust just this one string. I'll make this one a little higher. Now sometimes there's nothing you can do to make your guitar stop buzzing or get the action low. No matter what, it doesn't work. And if that's the case, there's something up with the neck and you need a truss rod adjustment. So you'll notice there's a little hole here, or if you have a vintage guitar, it might actually be hidden and you can't see it. You might see part of it if you look at where the heel of the neck meets the body, and a professional will adjust that and get your neck the right straightness. What that controls is the bow of the neck. So if your truss rod's too loose, it'll bow forward, and if it's too tight, it'll bow backwards, and you can do permanent damage if you don't know what you're doing. So for that, I definitely recommend going to a professional. So once it feels good and it's in tune, it's time to play. So you're gonna need a pick, a strap, a cable, and an amp. So if you're just starting out, you might want to get a small modeling amp that has built-in effects that you could experiment with and is not too loud for practicing at home. Brands like Fender, Roland, and Line 6 make lots of great options. I've got a Roland Cube 30 that I'm using right here. For a strap, don't need anything fancy. I've been using the same $8 nylon Ernie ball strap for 20 years and it's never let me down. For picks, it's great to start out with a medium pick. Medium picks are good for strumming because they have some flexibility to them, but they're also good for picking single notes because they're not too floppy. Because when they're too floppy, it's hard to get that speed and accuracy, and when it's too stiff, it sounds rough with the strumming. All right, so after you play your guitar for a while, you're gonna start to notice it's getting dirty. And if it is, that is great. That means you've been putting in the work. So way to go. For a rosewood or ebony fretboard, you can use a lemon oil, but this is not good for a maple fretboard. My favorite cleaner and conditioner is for all fretboards, and it's called F1 oil. And for the body, you can use a product like Dunlop 65. It's a mild cleaner and polish that will restore the guitar's luster to the original shine. So when you're not playing your instrument, you could either leave it on the stand or put it back in its case. But remember, if you always have it in the case, you're not gonna see it and wanna play it. So I like to keep mine on the stand next to my desk, so it's always inviting me to come play it. Now, if you live somewhere where the temperature is always fluctuating, I do recommend keeping it in the case because that will slow down the change in temperature. If your house, let's say in the morning is 50 degrees and at night is 80 degrees or it's dry and humid, the case will definitely help regulate that. Sometimes if you go too fast with a temperature or humidity change, it can mess with the wood of the guitar. Now, one big important thing is don't leave your guitar in your car in extreme weather conditions. So if it's freezing cold or it's super hot, I did that with my acoustic guitar. This guitar right here, and I just got it back from the shop because the neck got all messed up, and I'm lucky I didn't get any serious damage. It was enough that just a setup was able to do. But living in Texas where I live, that's the only time I had to learn that lesson. And now, even if I just go to the store or something, I just put it on my back when I go inside. And this way I don't have to worry about it. All right, well, now that we went over all that, it's time for you to learn how to play. So go to guitartricks.com where you'll find hundreds of lessons on songs that you know and love, tips and tricks, and all sorts of great stuff to help you get started. All right, I hope this lesson was helpful. If you want to see more like it, be sure to subscribe to Guitar Tricks, and I'll see you guys next time.